The ego wants to have its way. It just does. It feels like that's the most natural, normal thing in the world, to have what it wants and not have what it doesn't want. It vacillates between those two polar dynamics. I either want this or I don't want that, or both. I want this and I don't want that. So wanting itself is a control strategy. The ego wants attention, power, status, money, control, safety. It wants to affect those dynamics as much as it possibly can. It might utilize judgmentalness or toxic opinions or criticism or diminishment of others, or gain for status-wise or positionally for oneself at another's expense, or even at the expense of the whole organizational process. Because the ego can't care. It can't love. It can't truly respect or honor anybody. Your soul can, your consciousness can, your heart can, and your ego can't. Egos just don't do that, even if they want to, really, really bad. Even if they hate themselves for not doing all of those good, loving, kind, caring things, they can't, because they're an ego. It's a built-in developmental glass ceiling. So one of the most extreme versions of ego process is narcissism. Narcissism is not wrong. It's not bad. It's not evil. Narcissistic people are not unacceptable human beings. We would say there is no human being that does not have some ego process that is fundamentally narcissistic in its dynamic or nature or intentions. So there aren't any perfect people, and there aren't going to be any, and we're doing the best we can, and we get it. So we got to honor your process. In regard to narcissistic energies in the organizational culture, whether it's obvious or not, as we, John, are curating the evolution of the culture of the organization. We're not cultifying the organization. We're curating attained collective consciousness that is sovereign. You're sovereign. You have free will. You have the right to say whatever you want to say at any moment, at any point, and you'll be honored for doing so. It doesn't mean that we'll agree. You won't be bad for having said it. Okay? So we hope that that's an acceptable mode, and we're open to any and all of you improving upon that and saying, John, that's really great that you think that, but the really better way is this. And you'll get it someday, John. That said, and we'll accept that, because if there's a more loving, kind, caring way, we want to know about it. That if you feed it, it just grows. If you placate it, it just grows. And we are doing our best to starve the fever. So in the process of this organization's dynamics, if we see narcissism every day in some way, in some team process, on some topic, we don't call it out. We don't say, oh, by the way, you're being narcissistic right now, and you should stop that. What we might do is do what might be termed a pattern interrupt. So if somebody in a team went into a mode of saying, well, from my experience, this is the way things should go. You should all listen up. You should do it this way. Hey, you over there, you start doing this, and you do this, and you do this. We might listen to that process and say, and wait for the precise moment, with optimal moment, to say, whoa, your communication is, and not in these words, your communication is not a collaborative communication. It's a unilateral directive communication. It's not being helpful, and it's not as collaborative as we would hope. And we know you have more capacity to be non-egoically collaborative, and we just want to mention that. And we hope that this moment of insight, that you can look back over what you said over the past 10 minutes and say that wasn't a collaborative process. It wasn't receptive. Collaboration is receptivity, humility, love, honor, respect, service, intention, and narcissistic expression of expertise or power or skill or capability for the sake of that, of fulfilling the ego and feeding the ego is it's a sort of waste of an opportunity that could be turned into collaboration. Again, it's not bad, it's not wrong, and if we don't collaborate, humanity could destroy itself. It's that profound. So we got to make choices. We got to say ego or consciousness, tribe or consciousness, love or self-interest and ego feeding. And none of it's bad. Every human being is on a spectrum. Everyone's on their own step of the ladder of consciousness. Nobody's wrong, nobody's bad, and everyone can be helped. Everyone can be served. Everyone can be given a boost. And it's important to be humbly willing to put their muddy boot on your shoulder in order to help them up that next step. So, and that's a necessary task. That's an action of love. That's not an action of trying to make somebody be something that they're not.